Today we're going to be playing some vampires, a list that has been requested quite a few times over the past few weeks for me to try out, and I just wasn't sure if vampires were going to get the job done. So I thought today, why not give it a try, put my own spin on it, and just see how good vampires could really be. And I gotta say, I'm very impressed, and I think you will be too. Cue the intro. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are talking, of course, about vampires, and I wanted to go ahead and take my own spin on vampires. Of course, I've seen a lot of vampire lists going around, and they're all fairly similar. They kind of mix vampires with burn spells because those two things kind of play off each other really well. But I wanted to see if I could just take straight up vampires, the best of the best, and see if they couldn't hold their own with being more of like a straight aggro to mid-range list. And I think we got something here that's working out really well, and I know you're going to enjoy it. But before I dive in and break it down, as always, if you're new here and you find some value in today's video, or if you just like hanging out with us today, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button. We are on the road to 5,000, and I would love to hit it by the end of the year. So if you've already subscribed, I just want to say thank you so much to you guys for getting us to this point. And yeah, let's go for it, man. I think we can do this by the end of the year. Let's get that 5,000 mark. But with that being said, let's dive in here a little bit and talk about the list. So how should we start this off? I guess we'll start it off with a card not a whole lot of people are running. I have 3 copies of Cemetery Gatekeeper in here. I think this card has been overlooked quite a bit, obviously for good reason. It's pretty hard to get to play out extremely well. You got to get things in your opponent's graveyard for this to be pretty effective. So in order to do that, how are we going to do that on curve with, you know, our first turn being 1 and then this end being 2? You want to make sure you get stuff in the graveyard right away. Well, the best way to do that obviously would be duress. Duress is a great answer, especially when we're talking about the meta right now, because everybody's running Izzet. So duress can hit right away on turn 1 and hopefully pull an all runs epiphany out of your opponent's hand, and then start making them pay extra damage every time they want to cast a sorcery. So in that particular instance, that's a really good combo. But Cemetery Gatekeeper, if you can't hit something out of the graveyard right away with it, it's still a great 2-drop because it has the first strike tacked onto it. So if we're talking about running against mono white, Cemetery Gatekeeper's a great way to just kind of block those Thalias, or just really anything, because their toughness levels are usually around 1, and you could probably kill most things with this as far as blocks go. Also a great way to get things into the graveyard is we have Gift of Fangs. So if maybe on turn 1 they play an Usher of the Fallen and they are mono white, we can kill it with Gift of Fangs. It's a 1 mana removal spell that takes away, you know, a lot of what mono white has to offer, and then right away we turn into Cemetery Gatekeeper. Now your opponent and you are both paying 2 life per creature being played, but when you're talking about playing mono white, they're going to suffer a lot more from that you know, combination. So there are ways to get the graveyard action going so you can get the Cemetery Gatekeeper off on curve. If you can't, no big deal. A 2/1 first strike is still good enough to get the job done. Some other 2-drops we have are Null Priest of Oblivion. This is something that we want to preferably kick if we can, because if we can kick this, we can actually reanimate something from the graveyard. It would be a 6-drop, but you get a 2/1 Null Priest and you can bring back something hopefully fairly big that can run over your opponent from the graveyard, which is really awesome. We've also got the Vampire Socialite. This has got to be probably the best like glue to hold together any vampire deck, because it's just giving out 1/1 counters like crazy. As long as you're dropping your creatures down on main phase 2 after you've attacked, everything's coming in with 1/1 counters on it. So this is super helpful, especially if you got a couple of them stacked. We've also got Nighthawk Scavenger, because we're also, like I said, we're filling up our opponent's graveyard with duresses, and we're killing their things with the fangs. So hopefully the Nighthawk Scavenger can come down here with a couple of additional attack points. This is also just a great card. I mean, the lifelink and death touch attached to this thing is really sweet. It also has flying, so it can kind of finish off a game pretty good here. We've also got Florian. I think Florian is actually the best vampire in my opinion. This card gives you a lot of extra value over time, being able to draw more cards looking at the top of your library on these, you know, after you've dealt the combat damage, of course, which is the whole goal of this deck, is to just deal combat damage with all of our creatures over and over, and we're trying to be the beatdown deck. We've also got Agadium's Awakening, just 1 single copy. This is going to basically flood the board with creatures at the end of the game if we get that far, and we could just basically win the game with this card. It's just an over-the-top big explosive end game. We've also got 3 Blood Veil Purveyors. This is going to be probably the most common way we win games. It's got trample, it's 5/6 and flying. Already way strong. Like, it's good enough. But then you add the fact that you're giving your opponent blood tokens, which is technically a bad thing for us, but most of the time your opponent's not going to be using those blood tokens, and they're just going to be there to pump our Purveyor getting even bigger. And then of course we have the leader of the Colons. We have Carlisle here, Soren. He's going to basically, you know, this is going to be, you know, another glue card that's just going to be really nice to have for over long periods of time. You want that value of drawing cards, you know, getting that lifelink. Soren is just a really great planeswalker, especially when we're talking about it's, you know, spitting out vampires, which synergize really well with the list. And then of course we have Westgate Regent, my favorite vampire, kind of the main reason I wanted to build this list aside from the Cemetery Gatekeeper. This is really fun because it gets bigger over time, and it's something that your opponents typically do not want to kill because it's 2 cards to kill it if you're talking about spot removal. So this is a very powerful card that can also close out a game pretty fast. Then of course we have 2 Field of Ruins, and that concludes, oh, and we also have 2 Malika Rebirths, because this could be really sweet, especially if we're talking about, like, we're about to kill our opponent, they want to sweep the board, we protect one of our things, and then we end the game. It's pretty awesome. But that's the deck in a nutshell. I do have some suggestions on things you could change in this list, so stick around to the very end. We'll talk about that there, but we're already running long, so enjoy the gameplay footage. We'll meet you guys back here at the end for some final thoughts. I'll see you guys there. Peace. All right, today we're playing some vampires. It's been too long since this has been a thing that I have yet to try. I definitely want to put my own twist on it today. It's gonna look a little different from the vampires you normally see with the burn spells tied in with them. It's definitely a little bit different. It's more of an aggro mid-range type list, and we run some extra spicy things in this list that most people don't. So let's see. This is a turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. I mean, the curve is really good. Let's just hope we get the mana in order to get the curve out the way we want to. And seeing blue is really nice when you have a duress in hand. All right, there goes their all runs Epiphany. You gotta love to see that. Playing against turns is never fun. And that's gonna be a sorcery. So whenever they cast a sorcery, they're gonna have to pay extra, which is really good for us. So that's what we're gonna do. What a top deck, man. What a top deck. All right, exile card. Whenever a player just time exile. Okay, so that's only gonna last as long as that's out on the field, which is fine. I think we're gonna play this first so we can get the 1/1 counter on it. Steal the 2. Now it's gonna get the 1/1 counter, which is really helpful because, you know, it makes it avoidable to things like Spike Field Hazard. Now, the bigger it gets, the more things that it avoids. So, should be pretty good. All right, just beating them down until they want to do something. We've got another Socialite here, which is going to pump up the team again. What a beautiful list of synergies here. And they bounced the old Cemetery Gatekeeper, which I'm really not too upset about because the Gatekeeper is going to be able to exile now the Fading Hope, which is a much better target than the All Runs Epiphany. And the reason it's a better target is because they have more instant speed things than they do, sorcery speed. So this is still pretty sweet. So now if they want to cast an instant speed spell, it is going to hurt. So we're going to play Null Priest as well. There's Divide by 0. There goes that 2 damage. Boom. We'll take it all day long. What's really extra nice about this card right here is that our opponent, if they're running Leer, is going to be really upset that we're exiling all their good cards. They go Iteration into Environmental Sciences, or oh, Divide. Interesting. Well, I mean, it's still good though. We still should have this because we still have a 3/3 on the field. We put them down to 2. Gatekeeper should be able to close it out. Do we have any ways of dealing the damage right here and now? I just want to make sure we don't miss lethal. Nothing has haste, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and do this. That way the 1/1 counters reflect. Oh, why did I not take the galvanic iteration? That was really silly of me. I 100% should have taken the galvanic iteration out of flashback. That was really silly. There's the 2. They lose. It didn't matter. Cemetery just absolutely dominated our friend here. I love that it's Is It turns too. They can burn, baby. Yep. Vampires has been part of the to-do list for a while now, and pretty excited to play it today, man. It's definitely a powerful list. Like, Vampires got buffed like crazy, and I do think that they're going to be really, really good when Alchemy comes. I think they could be really solid. This is a pretty good keep for me because we got the Scavenger and Duress, so those two kind of go hand in hand. Let's just hope they're not a 100% creature list. Let's find out. No, they're not. There Is It turn. Surprise. Surprise. Demon Bolt is going to basically kill every one of my creatures, but that's their best card, so I got to take it. Demon Bolt is, it's tough, though. That is pretty tough. Hey, we got another Duress, though. Shoot. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. One's a sorcery, one's an instant speed. This gets even bigger. You love the synergies. You love to see it. Demon Bolt's gonna just blast it into next week, though. So what exactly is it that we want to give up first? Nothing here seems very good as far as giving it up. I think if that's the case, we'll just throw down the Null Priest here. Null Priest is a tough target. Like, do they really want to waste the Demon Bolt on it? Probably not. Might get a few extra shots in there. You never know. But if they do waste the Demon Bolt on it, cool. We just got them to waste a pretty good removal spell on pretty much nothing. Okay, they drew another removal spell. Even better than the one prior. So that's cool. That's pretty cool. Sheesh, man. Guess we just rinse, repeat. Same thing. Oblivion coming in. This turn, they're probably not going to Demon Bolt. They're probably going to just use their mana to hit the old Unexpected Windfall. Or that. So they're going to get a land here, and then they're going to foretell the Demon Bolts. We got to remember they have an Unexpected Windfall. Okay, they're not even going to go for that. That's cool. I don't want to lose this. This is a lot of value. And again, we're just staring down the barrel of that freaking Demon Bolt. So we'll play the Nighthawk Scavenger. Could have played it post-combat, but it's fine. I had a feeling we were going to end up playing that either way, no matter which way you sliced it. I'm surprised they didn't foretell the Demon Bolt, though. So they're going to spend all 3 here to play it. All right, now we're in a much better spot here. Much better position. That's pretty sweet, too. That's a really good card. Does it get Jawari disrupted, though? Probably, because their luck is crazy good and they run Spikefield Hazard. So I will play this pre-combat. And hopefully we can hit a Duress off the top of the deck here. If we're super lucky. That's still pretty good. That's also pretty good because we need to land for the Regent. Yeah, we got to worry about bounce things, right? So let's get the land. Like if we put the sorry, where'd it go? Where'd it go? That enchantment, if we put that enchantment on one of these creatures, like it does help avoid burn spells, but unfortunately Fading Hope is a thing. Hey, look, they did have a Jawari Disruption. Good thing we didn't play the Purveyor. All right, they have 4 mana available because of all those treasures. That's so on fun. Let's see here. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Cemetery Gatekeeper. Are we gonna be able to pull this off though? I highly doubt it. We're taking that for sure though, so they can't recast it. And we'll get the Purveyor down. So now they're gonna need the All Runs Epiphany and Iteration both in hand at the same time, because we stole their other Galvanic. So it's kind of nice. I guess they could bounce it, but this would go to exile, so it's all good. It's all gravy, baby. And if they bounce it, they're paying, because this is a instant speed card. They didn't play anything. That is highly unusual. Highly unusual. Did we just win here? That'd be pretty sweet. Hullbreaker Horror. That's not fun. But they did get a blood token, which doesn't trigger Blood Purveyor's attack just yet, so that's not cool. All right, they're taking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. Interesting. And they're gonna play another instant speed card. Yikes. Fading Hope, sure. Which is then gonna bounce another thing because of Hullbreaker Horror. Great. That's so lame. That is so lame. All right, all we can do is throw all these back down and hope some of them stick for a few turns. Plus, I mean, the extra damage is always really nice. We want an instant speed card, so let's take Fading Hope. And I guess we play the Blood Vial Purveyor. Jeez, the words on these things are crazy. All right, so that's another 2 damage. We might be able to get the job done with the Gatekeeper alone, because even if they keep bouncing it, that's still a spell they have to cast, right? So they have to play an instant speed spell to bounce the Gatekeeper, and every time they do, that's 2 more damage. So we might be able to cheese out a victory here. We'll see. It's all dependent on upon whether or not they get the All Runs Epiphany. That's gonna be... Isn't that how every game ends though? Do they have the All Runs Epiphany or not? That's basically how every game ends. All right, Gatekeeper's coming in here. Divide by 0. It's not the end of the world. Okay, it hits. It actually hits, which means it's probably Spikefield Hazard. That's unfortunate. Instant speed, please. I have the Rebirth, but that doesn't help against the Spikefield Hazard, unfortunately. Let's get the Florian in, and if we can somehow get an attack off now, and we can get a Duress off the top, that would be crazy. All right, that's unfortunate. The double block is something I did not anticipate. That was just me not being a good Magic player right there, not anticipating the lands there. I'm not using the Rebirth on the Null Priest. It's just not worth it. I think we save it for the Cemetery. Cemetery Gatekeeper is a much better target. Maybe I should have chose a sorcery card out of their yard, because if I choose instant speed, it doesn't hit All Runs Epiphany. So if they do get on a certain run of All Runs Epiphany, it could get crazy. We're at 30 life total too, so we're not too worried about the Gatekeeper dealing damage to us, so it's totally fine. That's not the playlist. That's going to get me in trouble. No DMCAs. All right, restart the playlist. All right, they're going to Fading Hope their own Hullbreaker Horror so they can what? Bounce my Gatekeeper? Interesting. Oh no, does this exile the things it kills? What did I miss here? I missed something here. Why did Gatekeeper die and not come back from the Rebirth? Oh, they bounced the Rebirth back to my hand. I see what they did. Ouch. Okay. Ouch, that's a pretty sweet play. Okay, well, the rest doesn't hit the Kraken. If it did, that would be the best card ever that we top decked, but it doesn't hit the Kraken, so fortunately it doesn't. But we do go over the top, so if they do play the Kraken, it cannot block here. Nothing that they have can block, so it's gonna come down to this card. Can that card in their hand stop the Westgate region? If it can, they're discarding their Kraken, so I like that. It's coming down to the wire. It's coming down to the wire. God, I hate it as it turns. Okay, should we just take a gander? I mean, they're gonna cast it either way, right? So let's see. Let's go. We got him. It didn't matter. The duress really didn't matter, because if it's a card that they could have played to affect our Westgate region, they would have played it in response to the duress. The duress was, I don't know. It was just me throwing it out there to see. But yeah, GG's. Very nice. I just have to say, man, that that Cemetery Gatekeeper is bonkers. that card saved us twice now. That card is legit. That is legit. All right, what do we got here? We get to go first. We got some spot removal early to get into our scavenger plays, so I might be able to keep this and do some work with it. We'll see. Opponents, I was gonna say, is probably on some aggressive stuff here based on their avatar and sleeves. I didn't know the sleeves did that. That's kind of cool. All right, my turn. All right, we got, ooh, what a top deck that was. That's got a first strike on it. Don't mind if I do. But unfortunately for us, there's a thing in this game called Blizzard Brawl. And that card is even more broken. There it is. Even more broken. But you know what? Our scavenger has Death Touch, so might be able to do something with that. It's actually crazy though that they always have it. They literally always have it. Sad day. I have to play the Rebirth, unfortunately, as a land here. Not ideal. They're gonna draw 2 cards as well, which is also super unideal. But hey, we got the classic werewolves versus vampire situation here brewing up. At least that's instant death for their little wolf. I like that. Their planeswalker probably a little better than our planeswalker, if I'm being honest, because those 2/2 wolves are just gonna run right around my Soren's lifelinker. Suppose I play this and maybe make it even bigger, because they thrive off of Blizzard Brawls, right? That's like their main source of removal. So if I could just get way bigger than them, I might just be able to just kill them with this. This might be the play. Let's just hope it stays around. Like, that's the biggest concern, right? Is like, can it stay around? And you know, they take one potential turn off to not attack here. Excuse me. I do believe that after this game, I'm gonna have to stop recording for the night, and we'll pick it back up tomorrow, just because I got somewhere I gotta be, trying to get ahead of this video a little bit. All right, that was pretty odd to waste your... Oh no, they have Blizzard Brawl again. There's no shot that that actually just happened. Okay, good. You better give me another one, because that was ridiculous. That was actually ridiculous. That was so unfortunate, man. Blizzard Brawl of all things. Like, how did it just so happen to work out they had the exact amount of mana there to pump their pack leader and then Blizzard Brawl? Like, that just cannot believe that worked out the way it did for them. That's crazy. But we immediately top deck another purveyor, so it's like the game gives them some miracle play, but then on top of that, it gives me a miracle top deck, so we'll take it, I guess. Soren's coming down, which can protect our life because it's going to give us a 2/2 life linker. I could just kill their planeswalker here, which sounds pretty appealing. Or I could go face. I think I'm going to kill their planeswalker, if I'm being honest. We are out of cards in hand, though, so gonna need some miraculous miracle here. That's super unfortunate, because that's pretty strong. The ability to play things at flash speed was pretty good there. I mean, they just had an incredible start. Like, let's be real. Their start was pretty amazing. Being able to get, you know, back-to-back Blizzard Brawls with back-to-back Werewolf Pack leaders. That's their best 2-drop. Like, you're not going to beat that. And a third Blizzard Brawl. A third Blizzard Brawl just for good measure. And that's probably going to be lethal. They go to attack step and they give themselves 2/2 each, right? So 5, 6, 7 plus another 5. Okay, yeah, that's unfortunate. Well, I mean, we can't beat werewolves when they have draws like that. That is just ridiculous. We give it our best shot though, and I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. I think we could beat them. I think we play a couple of games, we end up beating them most of the time, but GG's for now. All right, I know I said I was going to record tomorrow, and I am after this game because I'm not leaving on that loss. That was tough. I'm not leaving on that loss. We're getting after it. We're going to end on a win here. A strong win. I've got about 15 minutes, so let's just hope this game is within that frame. All the games have been so far. This is a pretty aggressive list, so. Interesting. We have some kill spells into a Nighthawk Scavenger. We go second. That's not good. This is a pretty bad curve, to be honest. We're still going to keep it though, because if we can kill something early, it makes Nighthawk pretty good. There you go. There's our target. Hey, that makes our Gatekeeper pretty sweet too. Okay, this just got much better. This just got a lot better. I don't know if I like Cemetery Gatekeeper taking the creature though. I'd rather it take like that sorcery cards, because things like Blood in the Snow I want them to pay for. Also, that makes this bigger. Do I actually want to take the creature now that I'm thinking about it? Because Blood in the Snow gets back creatures. Plus they have things like the Merchant that they're probably going to be playing here on turn 3. So I'd rather them take some damage for that. Yep, there it is. Skullport Merchant. We called it. Alright, Nighthawk Scavenger comes in. No attacks. And these scavengers are going to get our life total back up as long as they're able to attack a few times. Ooh, but they answer right away with some flying protection in the air with these spiders. Where were you a turn ago? You know what I'm saying? That's a definite grab. And we have this going in the air. They will probably double block here. Okay, we anticipated that. Which does mean if they want to get more spiders, they're going to have to sacrifice their Lolth, because it's going to have 3 loyalty only. So we're looking pretty good here. We're a little ways away from Toxrill. Toxrill is going to just destroy everything in his path, so that's not fun. Nice, they don't protect their Lolth. Looks like they're going to try to protect it with the flying vampire.
You fight for me now.
All right, well, that's good enough to get the job done. Unfortunately, nothing we can do here, so we play our Purveyor. Yeah, maybe they let the damage go through if I just go face. All right, so now that they protected their planeswalkers for 1 turn, we're hoping that We can get this attack to come through next turn. The Purveyor has trample, so it's gonna get one of these planeswalkers, even with the spiders in the way.
In exchange for loyalty.
There's some damage. We love to see that. We have a second Purveyor too, which is really helpful, but 4, 5, 6 mana. They have 6 mana here. They need 7 for Toxrill.
Subservience will be rewarded.
Well, that's enough for Toxrill now. They might have given me enough though for just some serious damage over the top. Because Toxrill is not going to be able to kill our Purveyors for a couple of turns here. So we might have enough blood tokens on the other side of the field here that these Purveyors are going to deal crazy damage. But no, they eat a blood token here. If Sorin though casts another... If Sorin casts another vampire, that's life gain, which is not fun. We just got to go face and hope it works, man. That's pretty much it. Like, pretty simple game tactic here. Go face. See if it works. They spread the blockers. That is not the play. Let's hope they keep it that way. They do keep it that way. They eat all that excess damage over the top. That's huge.
I will. And I, the general.
Second Purveyor. We're up to 23 life total, so this is no problem taking the damage here. Toxrill is going to take another 2 off the top, and we should be able to close it out with the Purveyors. Should be no problems. Unless they top deck the Blood in the Snow, we should be really good. It all comes down to whether or not they top deck Blood in the Snow. That's pretty much it. Because their planeswalkers are doing them seriously good work right now. All right, I gotta assume it's Toxrill here. It's gotta be, right? Onyx, okay. They are just planeswalker tribal at the moment here, and they minus on my Purveyor, which is no good. Oh, these are all the same power. Okay, beautiful. Oh, that's so good. Scavenger got really big. That's awesome. That is awesome. Oh no, do they have grasp? That would be terrible. Let's hope they don't have a grasp here. I could grab an instant spell with this just to be safe on the grasp, and then they'll have to pay 2 life and an additional 2 life. Let's do it. They have priority hold, so I mean, it could be the merchant though. It could be the merchant. All right, let's try. Let's try it. So here comes 4 extra damage on both of these, which makes them 9 6s with trample. It's a lot of damage. 3, 4, 5. They can block 5 of it. They're spreading the damage out, which means they don't have Infernal Grasp. This should be game. Wow, we did it. We actually did it. They gained 2 life off of that vampire, but it wasn't enough. That's crazy. They had 3 planeswalkers out. We still ran through them. Those blood vial purveyors are nuts. And we're back. Here we go. Day number 2 with vampires. Day number 2. Hopefully I remember how to play this list. I know it's pretty complex with like battle sequencing. I know that. There are a couple of vampires that do some combat tricks that I might end up misplaying now that I took a break. We'll see. Now that I'm not in the groove. All right, this is a bad hand, or is it a good hand? I'm keeping it. Okay, champion of the parish. We can handle that. I'm gonna play this now so I can make sure it doesn't get too big. If it gets too big, it's gonna be impossible to deal with. So, but we got a classic matchup again. Okay, never mind. Well, I guess we'll take that. Zombies versus vampires is what I was about to say. We did the werewolves, but now up against zombies. Well, on to the next one, I guess. Apparently, Champion of the Parish was their only win con, so we shut that down pretty quick. Feels bad, man. You feel bad for the guy who couldn't handle a Champion of the Parish going down. Guys, we're T-minus 1 day away. 1 day away from seeing Alchemy hit the format. Let's get it. It's just gonna make deck building so much more fun for me to give to you guys on the content, man. It's gonna be so much fun. Because we're gonna have all of our stuff that we normally do that's like borderline jank might actually be pretty good, which is a lot of fun to think about. This hand is keepable. I wish we had a red source instead of a Field of Ruin. It would be perfect, but okay, there it is. And we're up against a deck that runs blue, which means Duress is gonna hit very hard. Easy Sunset Revelry take for me. It's just taking a look here. The Hull Breaker is annoying. Let's get the Gatekeeper in. That way we can start the old damage counter on them. They might actually syncopate this. You never know. They're really thinking about it. They might have a lot of sorceries they want to cast here, but I would imagine that most of their sorceries are going to be things like, you know, Doomscar and stuff. So it would have taken care of the situation as it is. So I don't know. Tough decision, I guess. I'm not sure. All right, we're going to go here and we're going to maximize our mana consumption here. So we're going to go ahead and put the gift right onto it right away. It could be pretty bad for us because our opponent could just Fading Hope it or Divide it, but we have to give it a shot because if we play the Vampire Socialite and not give it the gift, next turn I'm playing the Purveyor on turn 4 and we won't be able to give the gift then. So better now, I guess, than later. Make sure we get our attack in first. That way the Purveyor comes in with the 1/1 counter on it. You love to see it. It could get Jawari disrupted here, I guess. Yep, there it is. Okay. We can get it back later if we hit 2 more lands, right? 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 2 more lands. We can get it back if we're willing to wait on our Null Priest here. That's got to be a Doomscar, I would imagine. All right, so we know our attack's not getting through, so... Or it will if we Fang one of these. No, I think I'm just gonna attack here. It's a bit unfortunate. A bit unfortunate because we don't have the mana to play our Westgate Regent, which would have been really nice here, but I have a feeling we're gonna get Doomscarred anyways. So let's just end our turn. They are not gonna play their Doomscar because it just not a lot of value, I'm assuming. So we'll get in there for 4. And we'll see if this Socialite here can give us some 1/1 counter action. Now it's a good Doomscar, so we'll probably see it. The Kraken is also annoying. Wow, they got 3 Sunset Revelries. Probably the best card they could hit against us, and they got 3 of them. So that's a lot of fun. And we do it that way because we want to make sure we get the damage through. They can't block if they only have 1 creature because they both have Menace. 3, 6, 7. So now their Kraken can come down. Good times. Good times. The Kraken can hit. So it's going to come down and they're going to double block the 5/5. It's annoying. It's annoying to say the least. The good news is that if the Kraken wants to target the Westgate Regent when it comes down and starts attacking, they're going to have to discard a card, which I'm sure they don't want to do. Yeah, just like this. I'm starting to think this is all runs Epiphany, which is a lot worse of a situation. Like I said, though, I still think we can get the job done. If Hullbreaker Horror feels like bouncing the Regent, they're going to be in a bit of trouble. All right. So they are left with 5 mana, potentially 6 if they drop a land here. Yep, there's the All Runs Epiphany. All right. So if they All Runs again, it depends on what they want to bounce here. Obviously, they would want to bounce the Westgate Regent, but they're probably not going to. Pretty smart to attack here prior, because now I'm in an actual predicament where it might be smart to block here because they're going to take a second turn. But I'm going to just try and survive it. I don't know how that's going to be possible, if I'm being honest. So you're saying there's a chance? So you're saying there's a chance. All right, we're just gonna throw everything down here. But if it's Doomscar, though, they could bounce their own Kraken back to their hand. Wash away, huh? Savage. All right. Like I said, they could Doomscar, and on the triggering of the Doomscar, they could bounce their own Hullbreaker Horror back to their hand. That could be pretty bad. If it's All Runs Epiphany, that's also really bad. They could just bounce our Vampire Socialite. I'm definitely going to block here just in case the All Runs Epiphany is the play. We'll see. Okay, it's Doomscar. It's what we initially thought. Why did they not bounce their own horror back to their hand? I mean, I'll take it, but that seems like a mistake. I don't think they knew they could do that. Man, we're not playing very savvy players today, I feel like, but I mean, we'll take it. We can block one Hall of the Storm Giants. If they draw something relevant, I'm going to be pretty upset. Awesome. No relevant spells. We take this because we have 4 damage on deck for the return fire. Boom! Azorius Control taken out. They could have, like I said, they could have kept the Kraken. I don't know if that would have been good enough, though, if they replayed their Kraken on my turn when I'm attacking. Both of these have Menace anyways, so they wouldn't have been able to get blocked. So I don't think it would have been good enough, but it's just something that maybe they can take away. GG. That's gonna do it for today's gameplay footage, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. It means the absolute world to me that you've made it this far into the video, so I just want to say thank you. Shout out to you if you're watching this. I really appreciate you for that. It helps out the algorithm so much if you made it this far, so I really appreciate that. The video is going to get recommended now to more people, so really want to say thank you. Couple of things too. Live stream tonight at 5 o'clock. I'm sorry, 5 o'clock. At 6 o'clock Arizona time, which I believe right now, because daylight savings time just hit, we're on Mountain Standard Time. You guys can kind of convert from there, but I'd love to see you guys there in the live stream tonight. That'd be a lot of fun. Also, tomorrow Alchemy comes out. We're going to be recording our first video, and that'll be out on Friday, so I cannot wait for that. And with that being said, let's talk about the list a little bit. I personally think it's freaking awesome. I think it's really good. I think it's only going to get better, just like everything else when Alchemy hits. It's a lot of fun to play, and there are some things that you could add, I think, to this mix, like Crippling Fear. This card right here is a great sweeper that, you know, only affects creatures of the non-named type. So if you've got, you know, any sort of deck that runs any sort of like tribal, this is a great removal card. So Crippling Fear could be a really great addition to this particular list. Also, another thing I wanted to touch on as far as changes go, Cemetery Gatekeeper performed really well, and I really enjoyed this card a lot, and I think it's a lot of fun. There are some obvious flaws with it, though, that we kind of addressed in the beginning of the video, but I also wanted to bring up the fact that in a couple of circumstances, sorry, I just ate. A couple of circumstances, this actually combated against Nighthawk Scavenger's attack points. So if you're lowering Nighthawk's attack by playing the Gatekeeper, maybe these two cards obviously don't synergize very well. That's also something you can consider and think about when you're building this deck. You might want to make one of those the primary focus, and the other one maybe cut it for something else. There are plenty of vampires to choose from. When we're talking about vampire decks, they have so much to work with right now, just because Innistrad has just given us an absolute, they just dumped so many good vampires on us lately. There's some really cool 4-drops that almost made the list. I almost had this one here in the list. It was really tempting, but I think I wanted my curve to be a little lower because we were going for more of an aggro type of game plan. There are some really great cards like Bloodthirsty Adversary, but this card right here isn't as good when we're not running all those burn spells. So this one and this one, the Pit Fighter, not really making the cut for those particular reasons. But like I said, if you want to go more of a traditional route, you can add those things, take out these other fun little tools that I put in here, and make it more of a classic burn / vampire list. But there's a reason why we went with these vampires that we chose, is because we wanted to go strictly powerful, strong vampires that were hard to block. They half of them fly, half of them have menace. We're trying to deal a bunch of damage. They all have first strike. Like, we're dealing damage, and it's very hard for our opponent to stop. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to be the beatdown deck, and I think it served its purpose pretty well. But as always, I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to let you guys have the floor. Comment section is yours. Please let me know if you have any ideas on how to make the list any better. I would love to hear your ideas down below. It also helps out the algorithm as well, so feel free to comment away. I would really appreciate that. And yeah, I think that's gonna do it for today's video. We're gonna have that live stream tonight. I hope to see all of you guys there. But before we get out of here, as always, just one last huge shout out goes to the Marty Mob, man. Thank you guys so much for being members here on the channel. The membership program here on the channel that we call the Marty Mob is something that these people here decided to become part of. It is $5 a month. They help support the channel, which keeps this channel alive and going, which feels great. And at the same time, we try to provide extra content for those members, and you also get access to a couple of like emotes and stuff for the chat. So with that being said, though, guys, thank you so much for being part of the Marty Mob. If you want to learn more, hit the join button next to the subscribe button or the link in the description. We'll see you guys on the next video, which will be an alchemy video. Shout out alchemy, and we'll see you guys tonight on the live stream. Until next time, peace.
Hit him 3 times like a hat trick. Yeah. The name is Swayze, no Patrick. If you play him, then it's tragic. Hit him with the mythic, yeah, that's magic. Yeah, MTG, that's what you'll see if you like and subscribe. With the upload, man, man, all of the time. Coming with the best decks, this is the meta. This ain't cheap.